Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I'm glad you're here. Whether you are a new viewer or a returning viewer, I'm glad you decided to spend some time with me today. Normally you need to lay down. I have a co-host, a four-legged co-host, which generally I have the door shut. But since I am here alone right now, I didn't want her to have to be isolated. So I figured I'd let her in. Usually I knit, I crochet, I sew, I talk. I do all kind of things. And lately, with the non-usage of my left side of my body, I've been diamond painting. But that's not what we're here for today. Today, and y'all forgive me, I do have my crocheted Battenberg blanket that I have not woven the ends on. And it is keeping me warm because it is cold, it's rainy. Mother Nature got confused about where she's at because we're in the South. We're in South Carolina and it should not be this cold. It's like 48 degrees right now. And it's supposed to get down to 33 tonight, maybe. She's so confused. But anyway, today I'm not showing you any knitting, any crochet, any of that stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of talking. And what we're going to be talking about is Game of Wool. If you haven't watched it, you might want to, for various different reasons. Oh, that's still very hot. But I'm so ready. I'm ready to get warm. But anyway, so when I first heard of Game of Wool coming about, I thought, okay, this is going to get a lot of panties in a wad. Not a knickers and a twist. A lot of any other type of saying that you want to apply to it. I do apologize for the light. It's horrible. I was going to try to wait and film this tomorrow. But these days, I have to, when my energy level lets me, I have to jump on that bandwagon and go ahead and get the filming done because the energy level is here, you know, up and down, up and down. But anyway, Game of Wool. Like I said, when I heard about it coming out, now, the only way I can watch it, and I'm not really sure how I can watch it, but people have it on YouTube. But I thought it was copyrighted, so I'm not really sure how they're able to do it. But anyway, I've been watching the episodes on various different YouTube channels and whatnot, so I have how do I say this? I have knitters, I have crocheters, I have sewists, I have a lot of different viewers on the norm. Now, if you're new here, I don't know you yet, and I'm not trying to alienate anyone when I say this. Game of Wool is not the end all. It is not. I have watched several other YouTube channel creators, and I'm not naming names, but they're really upset about the show. And I get it. I mean, you know, I learned to knit before I ever learned to crochet. And I learned to knit by pictures. Nobody in my family ever knit, crocheted, or anything. And this is before YouTube ever. I mean, the internet had just pretty much got started when I started knitting. Well, put it this way. The internet was just now becoming what it is today. Okay? But way before YouTube ever thought about becoming a thing. And, ooh, that fogged up my glasses. So, know that when I say I come at it from a knitter's perspective, but also not a hardcore get my panties in a wad type. There are problems with the show, yes. But my overall walkaway is it's entertaining. You know, it's not meant to be educational. Yes, they could use it as an educational tool, but they're not yet. But y'all, it's still in its infancy. I think there's 5 or 6 episodes out right now. So it's not... I see where other knitters are upset. I can see why they're upset. I don't agree with them, but I can see, you know, everybody has their opinion, right? So when I started watching this show, I honestly thought it was going to be a train wreck. So I watched it for that reason. Because everybody's comparing it to like the Sewing Bee and the Great British Bake Off and all that. What most people aren't understanding, knitters and non-knitters alike, is the Great British Bake Off and the Sewing Bee. I have not watched the Sewing Bee. I've only caught snippets of... But we have, you know, other baking shows over here in the U.S. So I can kind of correlate, you know, people getting knocked off, people, you know, eliminated, people moving up, people winning immunity and all this. And so I get the premise, okay? But I don't see the need for it to be... Those things are not really educational in the regard to where they're not getting into the nitty gritty core baking stuff. Or now I don't know about the British Bake Off. I'm thinking of the cake baking shows, and there's some Halloween shows around here, over here in the U.S. and there's cooking shows galore, whether it's cooking, baking, whatever. But my perspective of it is they're not going to give you the nitty-gritty educational side of it. So why should this show do it? Now, like I said, I don't know anything about the Sewing Bee. I only know its name. I don't think that was the premise behind why they wanted to start the show. And that needs to cool off so I can start drinking more of it. I'm not really tasting much of my honey. I wonder if it went down to the bottom of the cup. I'll know about halfway down when it starts getting super sweet, won't I? But anyway, so I have some thoughts. And I waited a while to correlate all this and let it simmer and stew and see where the show was going before I wanted to do this video. Most people probably don't care about my opinion, and that's okay. I don't find fault with that, because when you think about, you know, someone's opinion and thoughts are that's their perspective. I come in it as I expected a train wreck. And it has lived up to that some. There are some comical areas. And the way I say that is not that they're trying to be comedic. It's just some of the way the producers are having these judges do things, and how they're portraying some of these fiber artist. Because let's face it, that should be the name of the show. Britain's Great Fiber Artist. Or Best Fiber Artist. Because it's knitting and crochet. Now that's one thing that I want to touch on. I have heard wool, all yarn be called wool over in the UK and whatnot. Over here we call wool, we call acrylic, we call plant-based. You know, we're particular about how we classify some, you know, different fibers. And a lot of places, wool is just wool. It's any kind of fiber wound into a skein, hank, donut, you know. And wait, did I just say skein or skein? I hope I didn't say skein, because I cannot say that word. Did I tell y'all I got bumped in the head? I've always called it skein, my bad. So anyway, I think at first, when I first started watching the show, I thought, okay, that's kind of universal outside of the US, right? Knitting is anything yarn related. Well, then I got to researching it, and I was wrong. Yes, there are some places that knitting is universal for both knitting and crochet. That's Israel, Japan, Mexico, and I think Russia. If y'all know of any other places, let me know, because I think that was the 4 that I found. And I keep trying to reach for my tea. I'm cold. I mean, I'm cool. I could put a jacket on and I wouldn't have that problem. But, you know, my little cotton Battenberg blanket is doing me good. But anyway, so the way they call them all knitters has some tried and true knitters upset. Because you have a couple that are crocheters that are very new to just now starting to knit. Very inexperienced, very much out of the knitting world. And you know, all the contestants are they're all over the place as far as their capabilities. You know, we have some very experienced ones, and then we have some that are new to it. And that is one of the things that I don't agree with. I think that if you're going to have Britain's next best knitter, or however it's phrased, I can't remember how, the knock in the head. Anyway, I do think that you should, because I do know some of the requirements for the people that were trying out for the show. I do think you should have a certain level, at least minimum, to be on the show. I mean, if you're an amateur, that's fine. You know how they have the world's worst cooks? Well, those are complete amateurs. So if you're going to do that, have like people, you know, whether it's, don't bring somebody in that don't know really what they're doing and expect them to compete against pretty proficient knitters. I would even say close to master knitters. And that's the only thing that I really have a problem with. Well, that's the biggest thing. So, and let everybody know that it's more of entertainment more than educational, because a lot of people, a lot of knitters went into this thinking this is a great opportunity to bring knitting to non-fiber artists, right? Because let's face it, if you're a crocheter, you're already in that world to where you're thinking, oh, either A, I want to knit, B, I'm terrified to knit, or C, I've tried knitting and I never want to knit again. But to the layman that's not a fiber artist, you're not going to recruit them into knitting from a TV show. They have to see something that inspires them, that says, I want to take some considerable amount of time and say, I want to sit down and learn this. I want to get good at this. I want to make me some clothing. I want to make socks. I want to make scarves, shawls, hats, anything. But I don't really think that that's, I think it's entertainment only. And it's monetization. It's there to make money. That's another thing that I have a problem with. Actually, I don't really have a problem with it because I know what they're doing. So I just see it as another commercialized, capitalized entertainment. I don't know how else to say it. Because Rowan, immediately after that first episode, they had things on their website, kits for those vests that they were doing. And people reached out in the comments and said, are the creators, are the contestants even getting any of the money from these sales? And they're like, no. We have a contract with Station 4 or Channel 4. We don't have any contract with the individual contestants. That's on them. I don't think it's right. I do think that, because these contestants designed these things before the show. They didn't just come up with this stuff off the top of their head. So, in some ways, it looks like they tried to make effort into making it a legitimate show. And in other ways, they failed. But Sadar actually, I think, has a couple kits now. They are saying that they are crediting the creators, the contestants, and they're compensating them. So, hats off to them. I don't have any proof of this. I just know what's going around. And if that's the case, well done, Sardar. I appreciate that. Because, everybody wants credit for something they design or they create. Now, when you think about how they have to create drama. In any reality TV show, there has to be drama, okay? And it's funny, there's more drama being created off the show, about the show, than in the show. Which is hilarious to me. Hilarious. Now, when I was watching, now I did watch several, like I said earlier, I watched several of other YouTubers and the problems that they were having with the show. Now, I told my husband, because my husband sat and watched it with me. He thought it was cool. He knows knitting through me. I actually started teaching him to knit years and years ago, but then he became disabled and his disability is mainly in his arms. So he wasn't able to really stick with it. But he's like, how can they knit for 12 hours? And it is my full belief. And I don't know any of the contestants, so I don't know if this is true or not. But what I believe happens is they have a week for each show. And what I think happens is they have their single challenge in the beginning of the episode that is anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, or, it just depends. I think they break that up into several days, or maybe 2 days. And then they have the group challenge, and I think they also break that one up into a few days or a couple days. Yes, the contestants have to wear the same outfit. Daly has to wear his same outfit. The judges have to wear their same outfit. But that's no big deal. They're basically in these clothes long enough to shoot the episode, and that's it. So, because some things were being voiced by real world knitters, that chunky of yarn, that chunky or that thick of knitting needles is really hard on your hands. And I can attest to that. I have used chunky yarn with big needles, and I have crocheted with chunky yarn and big hook. So it is harder on you. But I don't think they would intentionally do that to mess somebody up. So I do think that there are frequent breaks, and there's a timer and whatnot to show the passage of those hourly deadlines. I don't think that they would put or run the risk of injury to a contestant's hands and risk being sued. That's from an American. Over in America, everybody's sue happy. I don't know if they think about that over in Britain. Or, well, I mean, they're in Scotland right now, but filming it. But are they? I mean, the yarn barn, we never see the outside of it we never see the contestants outside. We only see them coming into the yarn barn and whatnot. So, the yarn barn could be in a studio. Just saying. Honestly, I have no clue. Not a clue. But, so, I was debating on how to phrase this with myself watching the show. And the best I could come up with is it's lighthearted fun. Entertainment. I don't think it's like this cozy show that everybody's trying to say that they're trying to mimic with the Great British Bake Off, the Sewing Bee, anything like that. I just think that it could become something really cool that would appeal to knitters and non-knitters without all the extra drama and contradictory stuff that's going on. Because you have judges saying that this is the task, and then when they're judging, they penalize one person for not following through on the task, but then someone else doesn't, and they praise them. So there's a whole lot of inconsistencies, but it's good TV, right? So that's what they're told to do. And this is nothing against the judges. This is just production, and that kind of leads me back to saying that it is not really marked as educational. I had written a couple things down. I can't even remember. Oh, I couldn't even read my writing. I have some little notes on this little pad here. I could have wrote them out on my laptop, but do y'all know how long it takes to type one-handed? It takes a long time. Wow. It's getting darker and darker out there. I might have to cut this off just because the light's killing me. Now, anyway, so a lot of people are talking about none of this really being wearable items. And I don't really think that's the point of the show. Knitting has always been under my perception, it's always been a way to make your own things so that you're not being this consumer that just buys and buys and buys and then throws it away into a landfill. And, you know, you want to make yourself things, for one, that fit right, that look good, that you made, so you have that pride. But also, it's more of a conscious effort on consuming. But the show is more about more abstract, and I'm not even. I think it's more because when Daly showed up with that big scarf poncho thing that drug the ground, that thing will never be able to be worn but one time. That's more of a runway type thing. And that has been repeated on most of the YouTubers that I saw, and I agree with that. So it's more fast fashion in that regard. But they're just wanting statements and to create comments and to create a buzz about the show. And they're doing that. They are succeeding. But for what it's worth, I think it's still a decent little show. I don't think that it is going to persuade knitters or persuade people to learn to knit, but I also don't think it's going to dissuade people from knitting. Now, everybody was in a big uproar about them with the steeking thing on the very first episode. Talking about how he was making a big mistake, and they're tainting the steeking experience for other people. And me, myself, I have never steeked anything in my life. I've not needed to. I don't want to make a full garment and then make it into a cardigan. I'm not a cardigan person. I either want a sweater or I want a t-shirt, you know. I might end up making me a cardigan. There are a couple cardigans I want to make, and I don't really have anybody to gift them to, so I might have to become maybe a lightweight cardigan person. I live in the South. Again, reiterating that part. There's not a whole lot of need for jackets and coats and, you know. Normally. Right now, I'm not being as active as I normally am, so I am a little colder than usual. Oh, yes. It only took the entire recording of this video. It's finally cool enough for me to drink. And I'm trying to spit it out at y'all. So, if you're still here, I appreciate you tuning in and listening. And if you have watched the show, do not take away that I am slamming your opinion. If you have an opinion different from me, tell me about it. Tell me your opinion in the comments. I think this is a perfect conversation to have. Not to get upset, because we're not going to change anything this season. That shot, that's in the bag, that's done. But if there's this much buzz, maybe they can start, the producers will hear it. Maybe. If we talk properly and say, look, depending on where you want this show to go and what your purpose is for the show, other than to sell things, to sell kits and whatnot, you can add some very good points into the show and make it spectacular no matter who's watching. You won't please everybody, that's for sure. There's no way they could please every single person. But there is a way to where they can make it a little bit more, how can I say it? A little bit more widely agreeable. I'm going to watch it throughout this entirety to see where it goes. I mean, you have two very excellent knitters. And I think one of them is going to be taking home the title. You can see that from the beginning. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. So let's watch how this plays out. If you have watched it, let me know your comments. Let me know if you think that if something I've said is wrong. I don't mind you sharing your opinions with me. I do mind if you're rude. So if you're rude, your comment might be deleted. Or I might just tell you you're being rude, and then if you come back and be rude again, I can probably delete it. I don't know. Depends. Because I like to hear different point of views as long as they're respectful in their tone. And I know that's really hard when you're reading text to tell the tone in which someone's speaking. But we'll see. And if you haven't watched it, watch an episode and get back to me. Okay? Now, I don't know when this thing is going to show. I mean, it might show way after the thing is done. It just depends on when I throw it up on my channel. But for now, I'm going to get off here because I have completely just tired myself out. And it might be that my body's so trying to keep itself warm that it's just using too much energy. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go in here and cuddle up on my recliner and watch some TV. I've been watching so much TV. But anyway, I hope y'all have a great afternoon, night, morning, whenever you're watching this. I hope you have a great one. And do me a favor. If you can find one little itty bitty bit of joy, grab hold of that. Grab hold of it and don't let go. Because you never know. You might need it on a day that you're feeling really bleh. Until the next one, I will see y'all later. Bye.